Hey, what's going on, phone dogs? BoHD here. Now, I put my SIM card into the Huawei Mate 20 last night at midnight, and I'm writing this script at about 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, meaning I have spent 20 hours with this device. So here are my thoughts. First of all, I wasn't sure how well it would work in the United States, as this is a phone predominantly made for overseas markets, but I put my T-Mobile SIM card in it and have been getting a steady, fast connection. It supports most of the bands for T-Mobile's network. The only thing is that Wi-Fi calling is not supported. With that said, call quality appears good. I made several calls and nobody had issues hearing me, which is usually the case since I live in an area with very poor network connectivity. Now, I'm only using one SIM card, but it's neat to see the phone supports up to 2 SIM cards, so you can use this phone as a personal device and a business device if you so desire. The number one feature I have enjoyed the most is the display. It's a massive 6.53-inch IPS LCD panel with a 1080 by 2244 resolution that supports HDR. It has great colors and it gets nice and bright. For a display of this size, it doesn't feel terribly wielding, as the side bezels are very slim and the top and bottom bezels are only slightly chunkier than the side bezels, so the front of this phone is almost entirely display. So the Mate 20 feels a lot like a cross between a Galaxy S9 and a OnePlus 6T, as it has a teardrop notch and is competitively priced like the 6T, and it has a ton of OEM features added in the software like Samsung has done in the S9 and pretty much all of its flagships. After setting this phone up and restoring my apps and data, I noticed a ton of software features on top of Android 9.0 Pie. Some of which I haven't seen before in other devices. For example, when you're making a call, you can isolate the direction of the microphone to focus and enhance the sound that is detected from the bottom 120 degrees of the phone. That's pretty neat if you're in a loud area but still want to use the speakerphone functionality. People should be able to hear you better with this functionality turned on. There's a little pedometer built into the lock screen, so you'll always see how many steps you've taken throughout the day. We also have a bunch of other features like a screen recorder and some navigation gestures. My biggest gripe is that there's no app drawer in the stock launcher, so I had to spend a long time rearranging icons and making folders to hide the unwanted apps. And of course, I know you can install a third-party launcher, but I wanted to use the stock launcher to just see how this phone works straight out of the box. I feel like it'd be easy to add an app drawer option in the settings, but I know a lot of Chinese phones don't have app drawers in their stock launchers. Maybe I'm in the minority, I don't know, but more options the better. With that said, I do love seeing the Google Now feed to the left of the home screens. I use that a lot, so I appreciate the option or the feature here. Performance is stellar. Now, the phone is rocking a Kirin 980 octa-core processor with 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it's one of the first 7nm chipsets ever in a consumer device. And it comes with a bunch of optimizations to save battery life and improve performance. Huawei actually compared it directly with the Snapdragon 845 CPU on stage and found that it runs games at a higher frame rate, but you have to take those tests with a grain of salt. The point of the demo and the numbers was to show that it is a fast processor, and it should keep up with just about all of the graphic-intensive apps that you throw at it. And I found that to be mostly true in my time with this device. It's a pretty fast smartphone. I also found battery life to be one of the best I have ever used in a smartphone. It features a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and I have barely been able to make a dent in it after a full day of usage. I did charge it overnight, and after some moderate usage, the battery is still around 70%, which is absolutely nuts. Even after filming this video, battery life is around 70%. Now, coming from the Pixel 3, I don't like having to plug in a cable to charge it since there's no wireless charging support. It can charge up to 58% in around 30 minutes, which is awesome, but it's still not wireless charging. I do like that convenience factor. And of course, I've only used this phone for about a day, so battery life might vary. It might drop significantly after a few weeks, but so far it's extremely strong. The Mate 20 uses Leica optics. We have a 12 megapixel wide-angle camera sensor, a 16 megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera sensor, and an 8 megapixel telephoto sensor. So there's a total of 3 cameras on the rear. We also have a 24 megapixel front-facing camera sensor. I haven't tested the cameras as much as I would like, probably because it was pitch black when I first put my SIM card into it, and I had a full day of work today, but from the few sample photos I took, image quality looks great. It captures a ton of detail and performs well in low light if you're using the standard main wide-angle sensor. The ability to zoom in and retain lots of quality or zoom way out and capture a wide landscape image is so much fun. I love the flexibility of this phone. Of course, you do have portrait mode, night mode, and a pro mode with RAW support that will really test the limits of these sensors. Switching gears back to media, it was a pleasant surprise finding stereo speakers here. There's one speaker up front and one on the bottom of the phone that work in tandem. Overall, the phone feels good in the hands. It's not terribly wide, and it only measures in at 8.3 millimeters thick. There's glass on the front and back. Like I said earlier, I would have liked to have seen wireless charging. There's also no IP67 or IP68 water resistance rating. It just features a measly IP53 dust and splash protection rating. We have a headphone jack and IR blaster up top. Another one of those features we see a lot in Chinese phones, but not as much in devices launched in the United States anymore. The biggest con is the politics surrounding Huawei right now. The US government, if you haven't been paying attention to the news, is advising against using Huawei products as they have potential ties to the Chinese government. So that presents a security concern. Please, if you decide to pick this phone up or other Huawei devices, use at your own risk, do your research. It's really too bad we have this going on. Many carriers are not carrying Huawei devices because of the politics. It's just too bad because Huawei makes pretty high quality products, if the Mate 20 is any indication of that. I'm going to continue using the Mate 20 and hopefully follow up with a review one of these days. As always, I'm BoHD from PhoneDog.com. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you right back here in the next one. See ya.